I'd like to call the Elkhorn City Plan Commission meeting, Thursday, April 6th, 6 o'clock meeting to order. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Meinel,
Here.
Geeslin,
Here.
Boardman,
Here.
Stocko,
Here.
Hunter,
Here.
Watkey,
Here.
Lechner.
Here. Next, we have approved the minutes of March 2nd, 2023. That was in your packet.
Move to be approved as written, distributed.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions, discussion, changes to the minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes passed for March 2nd, 2023. First on the list tonight is Peter Durgan's Keys Children's Trust, Lot 1 and 2, County Road NN, next to W3526 County Road NN for a certified survey map. Everybody seen that in their packet? We did get the recommendations from staff to approve.
It's basically a correction to what they originally had planned, or
Is that correct, Allison?
Yes, so basically it's a correction just so they can fit in another home on that second lot.
that's it.
Yep.
Do I have a motion? Or any,
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Ken, can you speak into your mic? It's not going.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed for the certified survey map. Next, we have Craig, excuse me about the name, Paspany, VIP Services applicant, 805A, 805B, East Geneva Street. So for a rezone for, we do have a public hearing and recommendation. Jamie, would you like to speak on anything before I open the public hearing, or pretty self?
I think it's just gonna be for a farm market store.
Okay, everybody's seen that in their packet,
If
so,
anybody has any questions, they can ask.
okay. So I will open the public hearing. Anybody here for the public hearing? I'll ask a second time, anybody here for the public hearing? And I'll ask a third time, anybody here for the public hearing? I declare the public hearing closed for this rezone. Members, have any questions? We have a motion?
Well, according to the drawing they permitted it, or submitted, are they going entirely across the parking lot, or is that?
That is the plan, straight out from the two
Straight
retail all
out.
the way out to the road.
So then the access on the east will only be for VIP, right?
That would remain the same, because it's not gonna cover that whole area. That access would still remain basically public access for the entire mall area.
So like Brever's Music, they're right next to us. How do they have access to their unit?
Is that like an association? Is that like an association for where everybody participates in the parking lot improvements then?
No,
Okay.
where that line is, that dashed line there, everything would be to the east of that, is all owned by VIP. We take care of our lot. I believe there's an association that takes care of the rest of the lot.
Thank you.
Yes, so just to clarify, that dotted line there, that's where the lot line ends. On the left side of the map, that's a different parcel, which is a condo association where there's several businesses. It's kind of like a strip mall. That is all zoned B2. And on the other side is VIP, but VIP also has two small storefronts right where you see that triangle. That's currently being used as storage space for VIP. but it was intended as a storefront when it was built. So now they're seeking this rezone so that they can use that as a storefront and put in a small farm market store.
Members, any questions?
I move for approval of the rezone.
We have a motion to approve the rezone. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Meinel,
Yes.
Geesslin,
Yes.
Boardman,
Yes.
Stocko,
Yes.
Hunter, Watke,
Yes.
Lechner,
Yes. Motion passed for the rezone to be approved. We'll go on to council, so. Next, we have United States Cellular Operating Company, LLC applicant, Michael Doran, agent, 850 North Wisconsin Street, looking for a conditional use permit to put up a cell tower. I will open the public hearing first for that. Anybody here for the public hearing? Okay, if you could please come up and state your name and.
Here?
Yeah, that way the microphone can pick up too.
I'm Michael Doran, representing US Cellular. And we are proposing a 150-foot monopole at this 850 North Wisconsin Street.
Yes.
And it'll be steel gray in color within a 50 by 50 compound. We will, I don't know if you've read the packet. Okay, so I don't know.
I think everybody has.
Okay.
Yep.
Then I can answer any questions you may have.
Well, first I'll finish up the public hearing before,
Oh, okay.
then we'll move on from there, so. Anybody else for the public hearing? No. I'll ask a second time for the public hearing. And I'll ask a third time for the public hearing. I do declare this public hearing closed for the United States Cellular Operating Company LLC applicant for the conditional use permit. So now, Plan Commission members, do you have any questions or concerns or?
One of the questions I have is, if it's.
Jason, can you speak into your mic? We need to get the recordings.
If it's 50 by 50, what is the, I guess what's the total size of it?
50 by 50, I mean the square footage, and then.
So there's no fencing around what you're proposing?
Yes, there's fencing and buffer, a vegetative buffer.
So 50 by 50 encloses everything?
Allison, do you have anything to add?
I do not have anything to add. Naomi may though.
Good. So this is an existing site. There is a drainage swale, kind of depression area in the back. It's really, the slope is really shallow. So there's not a lot of grade out there. It's really flat. And I went out after some snow melt. And so there's some ponding water right on the north property line. So really the bulk of my engineering review was requesting engineering plans be submitted. I think they can probably put in a culvert under that access drive. I just want to make sure that we're not making the condition worse on that north property line. And there may be some additional grading within that swale to get it moving in the right direction. But that was besides that, and then I did have the land surveyor look at the access and utility easements. There were just a couple notes made on those for possible changes, and then some erosion control comments. It's pretty much all of my letter.
Okay, thank you, Naomi. Commission members, any questions?
Actually, the tower is gonna be west of where the water problem, is it not?
Yes, I believe it is. That's right where the telco comes in, that's right where the access road will be. And I brought this up with our engineers, and they will address any concerns for as far as water flow.
Okay.
And it'll be, yeah.
Any other questions or discussion?
I have one if I might.
Sure, go ahead.
I noticed that this is a lease arrangement with the landowner, is that correct?
That's correct.
And does the lease deal with removal or repair of the tower?
is in the lease itself, that we
Yes.
are, yes, if the lease expires or we terminate, we will remove the tower.
And that's in the lease conditions?
That is, yes.
Okay, that's the only thing I have, thanks.
Any other question or discussion, members? Do I have a motion?
Move for approval.
I have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any other questions or discussion?
Is that motion with Naomi's comments?
Yes, that includes comments from the engineer, right?
Staff comments? Okay. Second also? Okay. Any other questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Minell,
Yes.
Geeslin,
Yes.
Boardman,
Yes.
Stocko,
Yes.
Hunter,
Yes.
Watke,
Yes.
Lechner.
Yes. Motion passed for the conditional use permit. Thank you. Next, we have Joe Skurowski, Window Well Experts Incorporated, applicant, 320 North Church Street. This is just a project concept review presentation. They currently have a business in Walworth, and they're looking at the old Holton Band Instrument Building. And he's asked to come forward and just give a little review presentation to us and see what we think about it first. So, welcome, Joe.
Hi. I brought several folders, they're just basic information, not a lot.
Is this the same information that was in the packet or different?
We sent in the same information, I just had never been to the meeting like this before, so wasn't sure what to bring or what not to bring. So I brought.
Okay, so go ahead and present what you're
Okay.
looking to do and what your plans.
So, obviously, I'm sure most of you are aware the property's been vacant for a long, long time, and it's, tainted, contaminated property that's been challenged and probably will continue to be challenged for many, many years. Conselmer, the owners have been paying, it would appear, their fair share to continue with the cleanup, which includes I don't know how many of you know, there's an actual pumping station on the property that pumps 24 hours a day, every day of the year, continues to filter the first underground sort of an aquifer, and, only some other experts could tell you just how long that's going to run. I've been told, assume forever. So I don't know for sure if that's the case or not. It was a challenging property to look at. We've been talking to Conselmer for several months, and it looks like we have a close understanding where we will come in and help do some of the remediation. There's some vapor issues in the building. There's ways to deal with that before we could actually anybody could really occupy it. The building itself on the inside, I was surprised, it was several months ago that I looked at it, but it was in pretty fair condition because being sprinklered, they've had to adequately heat the building. So other than there's been some, animals in there and lots of ceiling tiles have fallen in and, painting and cleaning and roof repairs and things like that, we've worked out our situation with Conselmer. We would take care of that. And then ultimately we would also, fix the outside of the building, pointing the brick, painting of there's the brick building, and then there's also a metal, typical sort of an industrial building that's on the property. We do light manufacturing. Our facility right now is located right in the heart of Walworth, just not even a block from City Hall, smack dab, and a bunch of residential. And I'd say we're very residential friendly in that what we do is we fabricate, there's some pictures in there, custom-made window well covers that are sold on the internet all over the United States and Canada. We've got some new products. Oh, thanks, it's up on the screen, nice. We've got some new products that we're looking to develop in the way of egress window wells. I've been involved in the window well business for 40-some years. We've been in the general area, we've been in Delavan before, we've been in Walworth now for about 7 years. And we currently employ kind of, depending on the seasonality, 15 to 20 employees. With some of the new product development that we're working on, we'll be looking to sell into the major markets like Menards, Home Depot, Lowe's, and so forth, which I'm no stranger to. I used to sell other products that I've sold businesses out of that business. So I think it's a unique property. I think we can bring a lot of positivity to the space, make good use of it, make it a more safe environment in terms of, vandalism and things. They've had a maintenance company that's, from what I understand, done a good job of repairing doors that have gotten broken into, trapping animals as they're aware that they've been in the building. Our fabrication process is saws and routers that machine plastics to different shapes and sizes. We have metal that we add with the plastic to give it strength. We do make some aluminum metal grates in addition to plastic window well covers. We're currently a distributor of the window wells themselves, and the big deal in window wells is the egress code aspect. So there's all sorts of different kinds of unique egress style window wells. So we sell some of that. Our predominant thing is fabricating custom-made window well covers in our shop. So it's saws, drills, punches. We do also have one vacuum forming machine that basically you stick a sheet of plastic, it goes in an oven, it gets hot, soft, and saggy like a wet rag. It drapes over a shape, vacuum sometimes sucks it down, air cools it, and then we trim off the excess with robotic routers. So that, just to give you an idea of the process itself. And of course, we have salespeople and administrative people in our facility. We need a bigger facility than what we have in Walworth, and that's why we were looking to expand, and it's taken us a long time to reach some sort of a close understanding with the fact that the property is going to need to continue to require Conn-Selmer's TLC, but we're willing to kind of jump into the mix with them and bring a lot of TLC to the property and the buildings internally and out.
I just have one. How much semi-traffic do you have coming in and out of there? Is there a lot during the day, or is there one truck?
I wouldn't call it a lot. We're actually, having a semi pull on the side street right across from City Hall, having it back into our driveway right now. So I would say it's, on the high side, like several trucks a day, other than a UPS truck that comes through as well.
So when you say several, is it 10, 12, 20?
It could be closer into, I think, that 10 to 15 arena. I say several now is like 7 or less is what we currently have. But again, we're looking to expand. We're looking to ship more products, if you will. Part of the good news there is that all happens on the property itself. So yes, there would be traffic getting to the facility, but there's lots of property there, and there wouldn't be semi sitting on the highway or anything.
No, there's a big enough lot back there. Just curious for the streetwise.
Sure.
What about noise?
Again, we're right across the street from residential people. We're talking, practically a next door neighbor type thing. So the noise of our process, and we don't leave the doors open when they're closed. It's the same sounds you would typically hear, not on the outside of the building, but internally. It's circular saws, routers. The vacuum forming machine doesn't, it's kind of air noises. It runs pneumatically, so there's not a lot of noise there.
Like you said, you're in a residential area now, and you'd be moving back into another residential neighborhood if you were in that building. I just don't think it's a good fit. That's my opinion. At this time, and you've given a lot of reasons why you want to be there, but I just can't understand why you'd want to undertake with we don't even know what the pollution is underneath the building at this time. You know, that's,
Well, we've looked at it. Again, it's vapor, and again, there's remediation systems, and it would require those to go into place in order to make it.
why you would take that on is beyond
The
me.
noise from there can't be any worse than what was there, because where that addition is to the south, they had a large fan there. It was exhaust fan for the buffing for Holton's, and that sounded like a jet taking off all day long, so.
Holy cow.
I know the neighbors up there complained about that before, but nothing was ever done because, you know, it was an industry, so. I can't believe you should be making any more noise working with plastic that, would be as bad as what was there when that was in operation.
We wouldn't have any of those big floors or anything going there.
I drive by there about 4 times a day and have since 1962, so I'm glad to see anything go in there instead of seeing that sitting vacant for another 15 years.
Joe, could you just touch on your timeline with the Plan Commission and kind of lay out what your timeline would look like to complete the remediation and also occupy the building? If you were to purchase and/or rent and move into the building?
Yeah, so, I mean, the timeline is really, I think, kind of with the city here in terms of Consumer and myself are ready to enter into agreements that we haven't entered into any final agreements yet because, you know, we don't know if this has been received here yet. So, so there'll be a bit of a timeline just to finalize those agreements. I'm not sure here. I'm guessing there'll be occupancy permits. I'm not even certain what the current zoning is. Is it still considered industrial?
I think it is, isn't it, Allison?
It is. It is still currently zoned M1. So that's your light manufacturing district. Given the scope of the work that would be completed with their business operations, it would be a permitted use.
So zoning would be fine.
So that's not a huge timeline here, I'm guessing, if it's accepted?
Right, because it is already zoned M1, so.
Okay. So then it's really that vapor remediation is the biggest timeline factor, and we don't know exactly what that is. I would guess it's 60 days to install from what I've been educated to at this point. So, you know, our hope would be to get fully moved into the facility certainly by end of the year or sooner.
You say the vapor, is that when they're gonna put the pipes in the floor with
Yes.
air circulation to remove that vapor? Is that what they're gonna
Yes.
do for you?
Exactly.
And that will satisfy DNR?
I guess it remains to be seen. It was pretty bad in there, and, you know, from what I've been told, I've been told it's very doable. I guess there's always the possibility we get started and actually, and my understanding, it's almost like a pilot scenario. So they come in, they remeasure. We've even looked at buying our own equipment so we can pre-measure vapor. So it's not like this constant expensive guessing game thing. But then you install a percentage of remediation and then you retest.
Would you be completing remediation in the entire building at the same time?
That would be our goal, yes, to make it completely safe.
Just the building or the property too? Because I know with the property in the back there, I think that's probably a lifetime thing on there.
That's why we actually, you know, tried to do the best we could to try and acquire it. And, you know, Consumer was very motivated, and then we learned why, because it's not a simple concept. There's, you know, a report coming back, I think it's like almost any day right now, coming back from WDNR. We spent a lot of time on the phone with WDNR people, and it's like they've done a lot. My understanding is they've spent millions, and it's almost like the pilot with the vapor remediation. You come in, you install a bunch of remediation when somebody's really neglected something terribly, which is what was done back then. And then you come back and retest, and I guess that's what WDNR is going to be recommending. Okay, you've done good here, you've done bad there, this still needs to be done, and that's why, you know, we're relying on, we're not acquiring it today. We wouldn't mind acquiring it someday, and we wouldn't mind, you know, looking into grants and opportunities where we could step in and help remediate the property to 100% or as close as, you know, one can be. It's kind of a learning process for me. I've learned way more than I ever expected to know as it is. It's very interesting. So, so yeah, our goal would be to have, you know, the property healthy, the building healthy. You know, we're not, you know, excited about being in an unhealthy environment or near.
So, I understand, from what you just said, you're not buying the building or the property, you're just going to be renting it? Is that
Right, we're going to be leasing it.
leasing it?
Yes, and there's like a good handful of, you know, unique circumstances because, again, I think what you said, most people have come and looked and, you know, the first thing a lawyer says is don't run from that opportunity.
Absolutely.
Kind of a thing. There's limited real estate in, you know, greater Walworth County. I still want to stay in this basic area. The square footage is good for us because it meets what our immediate demand is, and it meets, you know, a future demand for us. So it's the basic footprint of the building that's good for us, and it's, you know, it is here in Walworth County.
Do you have much outdoor storage or anything on the property?
We do now, but because we'll have excess space here, we wouldn't need that. I think, Allison, you may have asked me that. So, yeah, we wouldn't need to store anything outside at this location. And we don't have any chemical uses. I mean, we have a couple of cleaners like alcohol or paint thinner for taking magic marker off of plastic, things like that. But, yeah, we don't have any chemicals in the plastic processing.
Commission members, any other questions, thoughts? I guess if anybody has any thoughts, let Joe know so they can move forward and bring a presentation or a plan that we can look at and either okay or not, or if everybody's on board not to, then let them know too, so.
Well, I can say I'm not on board to move forward with it. I think that it's a problem right now, and I think that it is in a residential neighborhood, and hopes that one day that it wouldn't be there, and you know, whether it be a park or whatever would be there. I don't think we'll ever be able to build any homes on any of that property. If, for say, the building was knocked down, and I could be corrected, but I talked to Adam about it briefly, and that, you know, if it was knocked down and went back to residential, let's say, that no homes, and maybe Allison was in on some of those meetings.
I wasn't in on any of the meetings, but I did hear, yes, that unfortunately this piece of land would likely never be able to be made into residential pieces of property due to the ongoing remediation. And I don't know, because I wasn't involved in those conversations, if Matt or Naomi have anything additional to add to that.
We had discussed it internally a little bit, but still we're waiting to get that same DNR report back to understand the extent of the contaminants at this time, so. But I think with knowing what is there, I think it'd be hard to dig on the site, and it'd be very costly. So that would probably prohibit it in itself, even if it were okay with the DNR to do so.
The only thing that I can offer right now is that we did have a talk with the grant writer a while back. This is the first time I was introduced to this property. There's potentially some grants out there, and Kapoor can offer. I'm not an environmental engineer, so I don't have the expertise in this kind of work, but we do have a department head that could help in deciphering the Wisconsin DNR report and on behalf of the city to see, you know, give feedback on that. So when that's available, we'd be happy to take a look at it if you'd like us to.
Members, any other comments? Nothing? Nobody?
Well, I think any time that you take a vacant building and can occupy it is an asset for the city. And it's been sitting vacant for 15 years, and I know there's a lot of issues with it because of all the chemicals that Holton used that there is under the DNR, and sometimes they think they're God. But I would approve, I'm looking forward to seeing somebody go in that building and occupy it.
Any other comments?
Mayor, I'm assuming, Allison, that DNR would have to issue a permit before we would issue an occupancy permit.
Yes, so DNR would need to get involved, and then of course we would need to go through our regular process for occupancy as well. We would want to make sure that the DNR says it's safe to actually occupy that building, and then the building inspector would want to do his due diligence. Zoning, same thing. I would double check everything before we actually grant occupancy to that building.
You never quite said it. When the doors are closed and you're doing your work, is the noise of the routers and the other equipment audible from the street?
I would say maybe if you were walking alongside the building, but like our neighbors' houses that are right across the street, they don't hear that, no.
Just one more question to follow that. In your current building, I believe in Walworth, has the village or yourself ever received any complaints for noise or outdoor storage? Has anything ever been filed?
No.
Okay, thank you.
No, sure.
The only concern I would have would be the semi-traffic, if there's a lot of semis going through the residential, but, I mean, I would like to see the business, I would like to see the building be used, but that's the only concern I would have would be the semi-traffic. If you're talking 15, 20 trucks a day, that's starting to add up then too, so.
That's the only way in is through off the square, so to speak?
Down Church Street.
Yeah, down Church Street from north side or, yeah.
Would any of those semis be parked overnight? You know, I mean, you're gonna have a couple in there.
There's always a possibility. Again, right now, when I say 7 or less, I was saying a safe number. I mean, we actually probably just have 3 to 4. And I was just being real, you know.
No,
If we start shipping
I appreciate that.
Menards, Lowe's, or Home Depot, I don't.
Or your numbers could climb.
Yeah, they could, but I'm not, you know, and I've been in that business before. So, you know, I know what truck traffic is. So, you know, when I say 20, that's the high number. You know, it certainly isn't going to be any more than that. Now, what might it be on an average? You know, again, I don't.
It's hard to say until your
It is
business
hard to say,
got
yeah.
strived, yes. But no, I appreciate you being straightforward with it. Members, anything else? Well, thank you, Joe. I mean,
Sure.
I guess it's kind of back in your shoes if you want to pursue farther with the city to see. I mean, you've gotten a couple responses. I'm not sure how the other ones feel, but if you want to move forward, you're more than
So
welcome.
what's the best, you know, again, we want the city to accept us and, you know, ideally desire us being a benefit here. I think, you know, that's our goal. So, you know, if it's accepted from the city perspective, you know, there is a lot more work. You know, we've already been spending, we hired a consultant company to work with us because there were so many variables, but that's what brought us to a level of comfort, if you will. But we still have final agreements that we would be looking at and expenses involved with that. So certainly we don't want to keep chasing down this road. We've already done a lot of chasing and a lot of investing, and we'll continue to do so if this is, you know, favorable to you all, that, you know, that we'd be a good fit. So I guess, and if you need time, that's okay. I'm certainly very accessible, so
I mean, the only thing I could say is you can apply, come back in front of this commission and see which way it goes. I mean, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I mean, if it goes forward here, it goes to council, I mean, then council looks at it, but if it goes forward here, it usually goes to council then and gets approved there too, unless there's some changes, but.
Well, Bruce, I think I'm in favor of it. I think this is a lot deeper than our expertise, you know, and if the DNR approves it, not saying everything the DNR says is okay, but if they say it's okay, I know it's a difficult project. I've lived a block away from there my whole life.
Oh, wow.
So, and I have a cousin who lives right on the parking lot. So, I don't think they ever had a problem back when Holt was running. If it goes along the same, I'd like to see something there too. Cause to me, you gotta have somebody willing to put the money in to clean it up. And we all know it needs to be cleaned up. I don't know how many opportunities we're gonna have for somebody willing to try to clean it up. So.
It was a challenge.
Oh, I believe it, yes.
To sort it out.
Yep.
But we did dig in and we've been able to sort it out.
I would say about the same thing, you know, I'm in favor of it, if, you know, want the building to be used if it can be. So it kind of be based on what the DNR comes out and says with the air quality thing. But, yeah, I'm for it.
I'm in favor also.
Now you kinda got an idea of where the members stand, so,
Great.
like I said.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
I think ultimately, you know, my best recommendation to you would be to wait until that DNR report is received. And then if you are still interested in pursuing this as a location, you could come back to me in the zoning department and we would work through the process to get everything approved so that you could move your business into that space. Ultimately, the DNR would have a lot of say in that, like we've already discussed, as would the building inspector. But like I stated earlier, the use of the building that Joe is requesting for this window well company is a permitted use. So they are technically able to occupy that building with building and zoning approval.
Very good.
Okay.
I'll come back to you, Allison, and, you
Yep.
know, I agree. The report was supposed to be done by the end of March, and
Well,
I know the gentleman in charge of it, so I can give him a call and ask him where he's at. So, thanks for meeting with
Okay.
me today.
Yep.
Thanks for squeezing me in.
no problem,
Much
Joe.
appreciated.
Yep.
And look forward to coming back.
Sounds good, thank you. Next, we have general discussion items. Any updates?
I do not have any updates other than that I know a while back we touched base on some plan commission projects that come to the plan commission, and we would like letters to go out to projects who have not started, giving them kind of a 60-day notice that, hey, you had this approval, it's out there, are you gonna do anything? If so, you have this much time left. And so I am working on that. I'm working on going through all of our past plan commission projects, looking at the ones that are already expired, that haven't started, so that I can notify them of that expiration, and then getting ready to send out that 60-day notice to all of the projects that are due for that notice. So I'll be kind of creating a spreadsheet on that, so that way I'm able to provide you all with more frequent updates.
Did everybody get her report?
Yes.
Yep. Everybody got it? Good. That's great.
Thanks.
Thank you, Allison. And we do have a meeting coming up April 20th at 6. That'll be our next meeting. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone, and everybody have a great Easter weekend.